Hello everyone, my name is Ruan and welcome back to my channel. I'm making this video because I want to give you guys an update. An update on my life, an update on the channel, and an update on the game I've been developing. So you might remember back in the day, like 6 months ago by now, I think, I released a video called I Made a Game, right? And I talked a little bit about what I was planning to do going forward. 6 months later, a lot has changed and a lot has been, well, my thoughts on certain things have changed a little bit and the way I want to approach this game. So just to show it off real quick, this was Chicken Night, right? This is the game I developed in 2024, last year. And you know, I developed, I uploaded it onto itch.io. A lot of you guys went to play the game. A lot of people played it on itch and gave me some interesting feedback. A lot of good feedback. One of the main problems with the game was it lagged, right? It was a bit of a hectic game. You can go and try it now, but at some point you would have a couple of hundred goblins running around chasing your little knight character, throwing bombs at you. It's a mess, right? It gets insane. The game started to chug, right? So that is obviously a lot of calculations, a lot of physics calculations specifically. And it turns out the way I implemented the game, or the engine I was using at that point, just didn't deal with that so well, right? It really doesn't matter how good your computer is or how I exported the game, whether it be for web or for, you know, just straight running on the desktop. It still suffered from those problems. Now, after this release, I did do a couple of updates and I did improve the performance, but not to the point where I was completely satisfied that I was never going to have performance issues. Some people, specifically on itch.io, suggested that I go and try Unity for game development, because apparently Unity is pretty good or pretty well optimized, especially when it comes to physics calculations. They even made a little demo in Unity that they uploaded that I could test it out, right? And I must say, I was impressed. It seemed like Unity did things well. Obviously, this is something I would have had to test myself. So what I did was I went into Unity and I started recreating Chicken Night, the game that I made in Godot, in Unity. And it didn't go poorly, right? I was learning Unity, figuring stuff out. It's quite a learning curve, right? So that's kind of where a lot of my time went, just learning the engine. But eventually I got to a point where I had a working-ish type of game. It seemed clear that Unity was just gonna handle the amount of units that I want on the screen way better, without me having to even start doing any kind of fancy or sophisticated performance improvements, or optimizations as they are called. That seemed good. I decided to stick with Unity. But now, you might remember from the previous video that I said that my wife was going to commit to help me with this game. She was going to help me with the artwork for the game specifically. Now, the Chicken Night that I released on itch, that thing had all of the artwork basically came from assets, free assets and stuff that I could download online from itch.io and other places. That's nice, and there are certainly good assets that you can get online. However, I think to really make a game stand out and to appeal to more people, you need to make your own art. I think it's a good thing to try. If you have somebody that's skilled at this, it really helps you stand out. That's my belief. So that's my wife's job. She tried pixel art and she tried a little bit of cartoony 2D. None of those really resonated with her. But eventually we discovered Blender, and in Blender, low poly specifically. It turns out low poly is the thing that she likes to do. And I personally also kind of like the aesthetic, right? Low poly looks kind of nice. It looks pretty cool. So we decided, okay, cool, let's go for low poly. But now you can imagine that means I had to all of a sudden learn how to do 3D. So I went from Godot to Unity 2D specifically. Now I'm in Unity 3D places. This is becoming a bit complicated. So I kept doing tutorials, kept having to learn new things, until eventually we started on Chicken Night 3D. And after many months of effort, now I won't say it's dedicated months, right? Obviously my life is still a little bit of a mess. It's still a little bit complicated, but we did manage to get work done. My wife made a couple of fantastic models, I think, and I think they'll get even better as we improve. I was able to slap together something that actually works. Let's show that off a little bit. This is the world of Chicken Knight 3D at the moment. So, what do we have? Okay, this is just a massive flat piece of terrain with a couple of trees. Nothing fancy. Anybody can slap this together in a matter of minutes, right? Where it gets a little bit more interesting is with these little camps that I've made. Now you might say, that looks like a goblin camp. And I will say that you are right. It looks like a goblin camp, and I probably am going to refer to it as a goblin camp at least once in this video, but that is wrong. It's a lizard camp, okay? Our main antagonist enemy for the birds are the lizards, okay? So we have birds versus lizards, or even amphibians, right? The line between lizard and amphibian is a little bit blurred in our case. This is a lizard camp, and you can see this is a little bit more interesting. I don't know. I think I did a pretty good job modeling this. Now, okay, modeling this, that's a bit of a stretch. So what have I done? I also got assets from the Unity Play Store. Now, these assets I had to pay for. There was a massive sale during New Year's, so I got a lot of stuff, massive mega bundles of assets that I could now use to build my world, right? And the thing is, you know, you get an asset like one of these little pieces of fence, this little piece of corn, or this flower pot, or that pumpkin. That's what you get, right? It's up to you to now put it together in a way that's interesting and appealing to the player. So this is my little camp. I think it's kind of cool. So that's probably the first thing that might stand out to you. But now here is what we've done, or what my wife's done specifically, not me. Our two protagonists, the two characters that we have basically fully functioning in the game currently. Meet Chicken Knight. This is like version 4 of the Chicken Knight, version 4.2. There's already a version 5 that I'm super excited for. One day I'll get my hands on it, and then I'll update this model. It looks way better already. And the Robin. Don't know what version this is, but it's already a very good version, right? So the Robin is the ranger, right? As you could probably tell by the bow and arrow, right? Okay, and then somewhere over here we have some enemies. Okay, this guy is still a prototype, right? This little purple guy. Don't worry about him too much. He's going to be changed quite a bit to become, eventually, he'll be the bomber enemy that you might be familiar with from the previous game. And here we have our lizard friend, who's just the basic enemy that comes and he stabs you with his little pointy stick. Well, he doesn't stab, he uses this thing as a flippin', big battle axe. Pretty much. So this is what I have to show you in terms of the world. But what's even cooler is the actual gameplay and how much of it is actually working so far. So I think this should just work if I play. So let's play, and let me give you a little bit of a demo of the Chicken Knight 3D so far. Now look, that name is also going to change. That's our project name that we are using internally. One day, hopefully, we can think of something a little bit better than that. Well, that is what we will then call the game, if we ever think of that, right? Okay, so this is just also a bunch of debug stuff. Don't worry about this too much, but effectively, I just have a way of selecting different characters. So let's start with the Robin. Let's see what she can do. So you'll notice the Robin, nice and quick, right? A ranger character. Very quick. And you can already see from our little lizard camps, lizards spawn and they chase you down, right? Now, I could change this spawning mechanism quite a bit, but right now, this is what I feel like works pretty well. Now, I can start killing these guys, right? As you can see, I have a working attack for my ranger, and I do damage. So we're thus far at least. Nice, strong, penetrating arrows. You can see I'm killing lines and lines of little lizards, right? Okay, what we can do maybe is just run around a little bit, see how many lizards we can rack up here. Okay, what we can also do, okay, you can see, look at this. I mean, this is so nice. Look at the the pathing of the lizards around the tree. I mean, I like this type of stuff, right? It already feels just so nice. And the low poly aesthetic, I don't know. I feel like we're onto something here. And it's super satisfying to kill these lizards when they're bunched up like this. Okay, so here we go. Now, how do we get these lizards to stop spawning? Well, you will go and destroy the totems. So these are like magical totems, or at least that's what I say in-game. The in-game reasoning for why we can just have hordes of lizards come at you. So if you shoot this thing a couple times, woo, I get stuck on the pot. That was dangerous. If I shoot this thing a couple of times, if I'm able to aim. Come on. Destroy it. How much HP? Okay, there we go. That's not a great animation for destroying one of those. But you'll notice that no more lizards spawn from this camp. Okay, so all the lizards are still coming from somewhere else. Now, you will also notice that is quite a few lizards following me around right now. They do become a little bit buggy, and you can tell when I stand still they absolutely go to town. So the navigation is set to low quality. It's not like it's amazingly perfect or anything, so you'll see them bunching up and then flying away every once in a while. That's not a big problem, because look how many we have, and there's no stuttering, there's no frame drop, anything like that yet. That seems nice. Okay, now just to show off the chicken knight. Okay, he comes in swinging. That's a bit of a bug. I'll fix that. Okay, so the chicken knight, I think the chicken knight's a little bit overtuned right now. So I'm probably going to hit these guys and they're going to flip and go flying. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at this guy. He just mows them down. Yeah, if they don't collide with their friends, they absolutely go flying. Right? Well, some of them at least. Get out of this place. This is chicken knight territory. Now, I must be careful. I can die. I just gave myself... Oh, I died. Fantastic. So they've done 500 damage. And they do 1 damage a shot. And you see, when you die, they'll just go to town. These guys, they don't like the chickens. Or the birds. They don't like the birds in general, right? They want to destroy you at all costs. They're having an absolute mosh pit over here. And more of them are streaming in. We can't do anything about it. I'm dead. Right, so that's pretty much the game. I hope it looks cool. I'm kind of excited. Now, it took a lot of work. It took some time, but we're getting there, right? We're getting there. We learned Blender. I learned, well, I don't know how Blender works. My wife learned Blender. I learned Unity. We're figuring this stuff out. I'm also every day becoming a little bit more settled with my video production. So hopefully that means I can produce more of these videos faster. What I've also done, and this is now more of a, let's say, a life update, maybe, right? So let's just get like a nice, look at that, just scenic, isn't it? Looks beautiful. Okay, so for the life update part, life update, schedule update. So and maybe you've seen some of my streams or something, so you might know this already, but I decided that for me to keep making progress doing game dev, I need to dedicate time early in the mornings with somebody watching over me. What does that mean? That means I am live streaming all the development, pretty much, of this game every single morning before my day starts, before I go to work or have to do anything else. I sit here and I stream for around 3 hours, or the whole game dev journey for this game. The reason is, first of all, it gives me, well, I have no excuses. First of all, it's early in the morning, nobody can bother me, right? It's so early in the morning that most people in South Africa will still be asleep. That means nobody's going to call me, nobody's going to walk into my office. There's not going to be anything that needs to be done at that time. The only thing I can focus on is doing the game dev. I'm streaming it because that gives me a sense of accountability. I'm live. I need to do the game dev, nothing else. You guys are watching over me, literally. There's somebody sitting in my chat checking that I'm doing game dev and not fooling around with some other nonsense, right? Now, I know they can't technically keep me accountable, but I feel accountable when somebody is literally in the chat during my stream. That keeps me motivated, that keeps me pushing through for those 3 hours every single day. And I believe if I can keep this up, this game I should be able to finish this game way faster than would be otherwise possible. Right, so we are aiming to finish the game by the end of the year. I'm not committing to that. That seems possible, at least, with this kind of commitment. Previously, like the first 3 months of this year, it seemed very dodgy, right? Because I would have days that went well, and then weeks that go poorly. And this kind of rhythm is just not good enough. I need to be consistent. I need to wake up every day and do something. And the something I'm going to do is game dev and streaming. So for you guys, I'll try to keep updating you guys on YouTube specifically. So let's say videos like this one, or maybe just small little, let's call them shorts that are also kind of useful, right? But little shorts that pretty much just give you a snippet of what I'm currently working on and how things are going and how things are unfolding in the game. Maybe a fun mechanic that I'm adding, or an interesting bug that I encountered, but they will probably come from the stream. So if you are interested in then seeing more of this process, I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch, right? Links will be below. And YouTube specifically obviously has all the VODs loaded. So you guys are always welcome to go and watch the VODs and see how I progress and what I do in the development of this game. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to the future of this game, the future of the studio, if we want to call it that we are building together. I hope you're excited. I'm excited, and I hope to see some of you in the live streams. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.